Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is Saira Mujtaba with the Midday News. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi emphasizes on the instrumental role of private sector to make the country self-reliant in the defence sector. Prime Minister asserts Centre and Assam government working together to develop state infrastructure. Several railway projects to be inaugurated by the Prime Minister in Hooghly district of West Bengal this afternoon. Puducherry Chief Minister V. Narayanasamy tenders resignation to Lieutenant Governor after losing majority in Assembly. Uttar Pradesh government presents biggest ever budget for 2021-22 of over 5,50,000 crore rupees. Banihal Baramulla train service in Jammu and Kashmir resumes after 11 months. An IED successfully defused by security forces near Naugam railway station in Srinagar in Jammu and Kashmir. Political, social and religious gatherings prohibited in Maharashtra from today amid rise in COVID-19 cases. And three-day plenary meeting of Financial Action Task Force commencing today to decide the fate of Pakistan. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these three simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki doori for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has stressed that the private sector can play an instrumental role in research, innovation, design, manufacturing of indigenous defence products to make the country self-reliant in the defence sector. The Prime Minister was speaking at the webinar for effective implementation of Union Budget 2021 provisions for the defence sector today.
भारत रक्षा क्षेत्र में कैसे आत्मनिर्भर बने, इस संदर्भ में आज का ये संवाद मेरी दृष्टि से बहुत अहम है। बजट के बाद डिफेंस सेक्टर में क्या नई संभावनाएं बनी हैं, हमारी आगे की दिशा क्या हो, इस बारे में जानकारी और मंथन दोनों जरूरी है। जहां हमारे वीर जांबाज ट्रेनिंग लेते हैं, वहां हम अक्सर कुछ ऐसा लिखा हुआ देखते हैं कि शांति काल में बहाया हुआ पसीना युद्ध काल में रक्त बहने से बचाता है। यानी शांति की प्री कंडीशन है वीरता, वीरता की प्री कंडीशन है सामर्थ्य, और सामर्थ्य की प्री कंडीशन है पहले से की गई तैयारी।
Mr. Modi appealed to the private sector to work with the government in a coordinated manner to prepare the roadmaps and action plans to create defence technology as per the needs of the 21st century.
आजादी के बाद पहली बार डिफेंस सेक्टर में प्राइवेट सेक्टर का पार्टिसिपेशन बढ़ाने पर इतना जोर दिया जा रहा है। प्राइवेट सेक्टर को आगे लाने के लिए, उनके लिए काम करना और आसान बनाने के लिए सरकार उनके ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस पर बल दे रही है। मैं डिफेंस सेक्टर में आ रहे प्राइवेट सेक्टर की एक चिंता भी समझता हूं। अर्थव्यवस्था के अन्य सेक्टर्स के मुकाबले डिफेंस सेक्टर में सरकार का दखल कई गुना ज्यादा है, क्योंकि यह सेक्टर नेशनल सिक्योरिटी से जुड़ा हुआ है। लेकिन साथ ही प्राइवेट सेक्टर की साझेदारी के बिना 21वीं सदी का डिफेंस मैन्युफैक्चरिंग इकोसिस्टम खड़ा नहीं हो सकता, यह भी मैं तो भली भांति समझता हूं।
The Prime Minister said capital outlay has been increased 19% in the Union Budget, which shows the commitment of the government for modernization of the defence sector. He said reservation has been made in the capital budget for the domestic procurement of defence items.
हमारे जवानों को बुलेट प्रूफ जैकेट तक के लिए भी लंबा इंतजार करना पड़ता था। आज हम न सिर्फ भारत में ही अपने लिए बुलेट प्रूफ जैकेट बना रहे हैं, लेकिन दूसरे देशों को भी सप्लाई करने के लिए अपनी कैपेसिटी को बढ़ा रहे हैं। चीफ ऑफ डिफेंस स्टाफ के पद का गठन होने से प्रोक्योरमेंट, प्रोसेस, ट्रायल एंड टेस्टिंग, उपकरणों के इंडक्शन, सर्विसेज की प्रक्रियाओं में यूनिफॉर्मिटी लाना बहुत सरल हो गया है। इस साल के बजट में सेना के आधुनिकीकरण की एक प्रतिबद्धता और मजबूत हुई है। करीब 1.5 दशक बाद डिफेंस सेक्टर में कैपिटल आउटले में 19% की बढ़ोतरी की गई है।
Highlighting the need for reducing import dependence for defence equipment, Mr. Modi said the country must move forward to become an exporter of defence equipment from a net importer. He said the government is promoting the indigenous manufacturing of defence technologies and equipment, which will boost the MSME sector and startups.
Delicensing, deregulation, export promotion, foreign investment liberalization, ऐसे अनेक उपायों के साथ हमने इस सेक्टर में एक के बाद एक मजबूत कदम उठाए और मैं ये भी कहूंगा कि मुझे इन सारे प्रयासों के लिए सबसे ज्यादा सहयोग, सबसे ज्यादा मदद यूनिफॉर्म फोर्सेस की लीडरशिप से मिली है। वे भी एक प्रकार से इस बात को बल दे रहे हैं, इस बात को आगे बढ़ा रहे हैं।
The Prime Minister said the defence corridors will also help local entrepreneurs and local manufacturing units. Mr. Modi said India has prepared a list of 100 important defence items, which is termed negative list, but this list can be converted to positive list by achieving self-reliance in the defence sector. He added this positive list will facilitate indigenous manufacturing capacity and create more job opportunities in the country. Mr. Modi said the country is moving forward in the defence sector with an endeavour to have transparency, predictability and ease of doing business since 2014. He added that the government has taken many steps in the form of delicensing, deregulation, export promotion, foreign investment liberalization to promote the defence sector. The Prime Minister said India had hundreds of ordnance factories before independence, but for many reasons the system was not strengthened as much as should have been done after independence. Referring to the success of the Tejas aircraft, he said our government relied on the capabilities of scientists and engineers, and now Tejas is flying in the sky. He added that an order of 48,000 crore rupees has been placed for Tejas.
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has said that separate capital expenditure provisions in the budget for domestic and foreign defence procurements will give a huge thrust to the domestic industries. Sharing his thoughts on the budgetary provisions of 2021-22 and its impact on the defence sector, Mr. Singh today asserted that the approach towards the defence sector has been driven by the sentiment of Atmanirbharta. Hailing the provisions of the Union Budget, the Defence Minister said that it brings a healthy mix of promise, potential and progress. He said, under the guidance of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Centre extended all means of support to the affected sectors reeling under the effect of the pandemic. Mr. Singh said, the defence budget has seen an unprecedented increase of 18.75% in capital outlay over the last year and 30% over the year before, which is the highest in the last 15 years. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said Centre and Assam government are working together to develop infrastructure in the state. The Prime Minister was speaking after dedicating to the nation key projects of the oil and gas sector at Silapasar in Dhemaji district.
भारत रक्षा क्षेत्र में कैसे आत्मनिर्भर बने, इस संदर्भ में आज का ये संवाद मेरी दृष्टि से बहुत अहम है। बजट के बाद डिफेंस सेक्टर में क्या नई संभावनाएं बनी हैं, हमारी आगे की दिशा क्या हो, इस बारे में जानकारी और मंथन।
The Prime Minister said despite the state having great potential, former governments overlooked development in various sectors. This is the PM's third visit in Assam this year. The Prime Minister digitally dedicated to the nation the INDMAX unit at Indian Oil's Bongaigaon refinery, Oil India Limited secondary tank farm at Madhuban, Dibrugarh, and a gas compressor station at Hebada village, Makum, Tinsukia. He also inaugurated the Dhemaji Engineering College and laid the foundation stone for Swalkuchi Engineering College. The Prime Minister in his address said that these projects will generate employment opportunities for the youth of Assam. He said with the Ujjwala scheme in Assam being successful, the tea, tourism, handloom and handicraft sector of Assam will make Atmanirbhar Assam a success.
आज प्रधानमंत्री ऊर्जा गंगा योजना के तहत पूर्वी भारत को दुनिया की बड़ी गैस पाइपलाइन में से एक के जरिए जोड़ा जा रहा है। नीति सही हो, नीयत साफ हो, तो आज देश में जो गैस पाइपलाइन का नेटवर्क तैयार हो रहा है, देश के हर गांव तक ऑप्टिकल फाइबर बिछाया जा रहा है, हर घर जल पहुंचाने के लिए पाइप लगाया जा रहा है। ये भारत मां की गोद में ये जो सारा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बिछाया जा रहा है, वो सिर्फ लोहे की पाइप या फाइबर नहीं है, ये तो भारत मां की नई भाग्य रेखाएं हैं।
The Governor of Assam, Union Minister for Petroleum and Natural Gas, Shri Dharmendra Pradhan, along with Assam Chief Minister Sarbanand Sonowal, State Finance Minister Hemant Biswa Sarma, Dibrugarh MP Rameshwar Tele and other MLAs were also present on the occasion.
Later in the day, the Prime Minister will inaugurate several railway projects in Hooghly district of West Bengal this afternoon. He will also address a public meeting at Shahagunje in Hooghly. In a series of tweets ahead of his visit, Mr. Modi said the great soil of West Bengal has nurtured extraordinary individuals who have contributed towards national progress. He said it is our vision and efforts to ensure West Bengal gets top quality development. More from our Kolkata correspondent.
On his third visit to the state of West Bengal within a month, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the extension of metro railway from Noapada to Dakshineshwar and flag off the first service on this stretch. This 4.1 km extension has been constructed at a cost of Rs 464 crores, fully funded by the central government. It will decongest road traffic and improve urban mobility. This extension will ease out access to the two world-famous Kali temples at Kalighat and Dakshineshwar for lakhs of tourists and devotees. Prime Minister will also inaugurate the third line between Klaikunda and Jhargram over a stretch of 30 km of the 132 km long Khadagpur-Adityapur third line project of Southeastern Railway. On the other hand, Prime Minister will dedicate to the nation the doubling of Azimgarh and Khadagra Ghat road section, which is a part of Havda-Bandel-Azimgarh section of Eastern Railway, which has been laid at a project cost of Rs 240 crores. Prime Minister will also dedicate to the nation the fourth line between Dankuni and Baruapada of Havda-Bardhaman Chord line. These projects will ensure better operational fluidity, less journey time and enhance safety of train operations as well as boost the overall economic growth of the region. This is Dr. Priyanka for All India Radio News, Kolkata.
Puducherry Chief Minister V. Narayanasamy today tendered his resignation to Lieutenant Governor Tamilisai Soundararajan after his government lost majority in the Union Territory. Minutes after the Assembly met for a special one-day session this morning, Mr. Narayanasamy moved the motion seeking the confidence vote. However, Speaker V.P. Sivakaluntu declared that V. Narayanasamy government has failed to win the trust motion. Speaking in the Assembly, Mr. Narayanasamy blamed the central government for not cooperating with him to run the government.
The Uttar Pradesh government today presented the biggest ever budget of the state for 2021-22, which is to the tune of around 5,50,270 crore rupees. State Finance Minister Suresh Khanna presented the first paperless budget of the state in the Assembly. Our Lucknow correspondent reports that while presenting the budget, the State Finance Minister said, "This budget is for the holistic and inclusive development of all sections of the society with its motto of Atmanirbhar Uttar Pradesh." Mr. Khanna said that the budget of the government is primarily focused on four sectors: infrastructure development, public health, human resource development and agriculture. Fiscal deficit of the state budget is 90,721 crore rupees. Around 27,598 crore rupees have been allocated for the new schemes and projects launched by the state government in this budget. Atmanirbhar Krishak Samvanvit Vikas Yojana has been launched for the welfare of the farmers of the state. The Yogi Adityanath government has also announced to provide financial help to destitute women under Mahila Samarthya Yojana till they get alimony from court. Mentioning the achievements of the state government, Finance Minister Suresh Khanna said that in the last year, state government provided financial help to around 20 lakh workers during the corona period and transported more than 40 lakh labourers to their destinations. He said that state government has helped farmers in all possible ways and paid 1,23 crores to the sugarcane farmers. Online payment of more than 11,145 crore rupees have been done to farmers under MSP for paddy this season, and more than 27,110 crore rupees were transferred under PM Kisan Samman Nidhi Yojana.
Bihar Deputy Chief Minister Tadkishore Prasad, who holds the finance portfolio, will present the annual budget for 2021-22 in the State Assembly today. Talking to reporters before presenting the budget, the Deputy Chief Minister said the impact of COVID-induced lockdown and subsequent fall in revenue collection compelled the state budget to restrain the budget outlay. He said the state government was wishing to enhance the total outlay, but overall situation did not support us. The budget session of Chhattisgarh Assembly began today with the customary address of Governor Anasuya Uike. In her address, the governor said Chhattisgarh has made achievements even during the COVID-19 pandemic. She said Chhattisgarh has become the first state in the country to procure paddy from over 95% of the farmers under minimum support price MSP scheme. She said the state has also taken proactive and innovative steps to ensure uninterrupted education to school children during the corona crisis by launching Mohalla classes and loudspeaker schools, benefiting more than 25 lakh children. The governor called upon the elected representatives to actively participate and to help people in their respective constituencies to avail benefits of the government's welfare policies and programs. The budget session will continue till the 26th of March and will have 24 sittings. Chief Minister Bhupesh Baghel will present the budget for the next fiscal on March the 1st.
You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi emphasizes on the instrumental role of private sector to make the country self-reliant in the defence sector. Prime Minister asserts Centre and Assam government working together to develop state infrastructure. Several railway projects to be inaugurated by the Prime Minister in Hooghly district of West Bengal this afternoon. Puducherry Chief Minister V. Narayanasamy tenders resignation to Lieutenant Governor after losing majority in Assembly. Uttar Pradesh government presents biggest ever budget for 2021-22 of over 5,50,000 crore rupees. Banihal Baramulla train service in Jammu and Kashmir resumes after 11 months. An IED successfully defused by security forces near Naugam railway station in Srinagar in Jammu and Kashmir. Political, social and religious gatherings prohibited in Maharashtra from today amid rise in COVID-19 cases. 3-day plenary meeting of Financial Action Task Force commencing today to decide the fate of Pakistan. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Welcome back to the Midday News. In Jammu and Kashmir, Banihal Baramulla train service resumed today after remaining suspended for 11 months due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Only 2 trains, one from Baramulla to Banihal and another from Banihal to Baramulla, have been allowed to run for the time being. The passengers have been asked to strictly adhere to the COVID-19 preventive protocols, and no one is allowed to board the train without a face mask. Local train services in Delhi and the National Capital Region NCR have resumed from today. The local train services were stopped about 11 months ago in light of the COVID-19 pandemic and a nationwide lockdown. Along with Delhi local trains, other unreserved mail and express special trains to and from neighbouring states have also resumed, which includes trains from Delhi to Ghaziabad, Delhi to Palwal, Delhi to Panipat, among others. The local trains which will run in Delhi NCR include 14 passenger trains, 5 electrical multiple units EMUs, 10 mainline electrical multiple units MEMUs and 6 diesel multiple units DMUs.
In Jammu and Kashmir, an improvised explosive device IED planted in a tin box was defused successfully by the bomb disposal squad near Naugam railway station in Srinagar. Police sources said that the road opening party and the police team spotted a suspected object early this morning on Pantha Chowk Naugam road stretch in Srinagar, a few hundred meters away from the Naugam railway station near a bridge. The bomb disposal squad was called to check the object that turned out to be the IED fitted in a tin box. A total of over 1 crore 11 lakh people have been administered the COVID-19 vaccine in the country so far. The Union Health Ministry said 31,681 people have been inoculated with COVID-19 doses in the last 24 hours. Meanwhile, the country's COVID-19 recovery rate reached 97.22%, with the total recovery of more than 9,000 patients in the last 24 hours. The ministry said that more than 1 crore 6 lakh patients have already been recovered from this disease. Presently, the total number of active cases in the country is 1,50,055, which comprises only 1.36% of the total positive cases. A total of 14,199 new cases were reported in the country in the past 24 hours.
In Maharashtra, political, social and religious gatherings have been prohibited from today till further orders amid rise in COVID cases in the state. Meanwhile, the Municipal Corporation of Greater Mumbai raided restaurants, clubs, gymkhanas and cinema halls recently to take action against those who do not wear masks and violate COVID guidelines. In this raid, action was taken against more than 16,000 violators in a single day. More in this report from our Mumbai correspondent.
The MCGM authorities collected a whopping 32,30,000 fine from the 16,154 violators who were found without face masks. Out of the 24 wards of the MCGM, a maximum of 2,300 violators were found in the K West ward, which comprise area of Andheri West. It is to be mentioned that Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray was apparently exasperated at people refusing to wear masks in public places. Sending out a stern message, Thackeray in his virtual address also said that those who wear masks would not want imposition of lockdown, appealing people to follow 3 simple rules like wearing a face mask, maintain physical distance and use sanitizers. He said that mask acts like a shield in the war against virus. He said a person should wear mask even after inoculation. Meanwhile, in the wake of rising number of fresh cases in Nagpur, the markets in the city will remain closed on Saturdays and Sundays. Kunal Shinde, AIR News, Mumbai.
Kerala also continues to report surge in COVID cases. We have more from our correspondent.
4,070 new COVID cases were confirmed last day. 4,345 recoveries were also reported. 15 deaths were confirmed, taking the death toll due to COVID to 4,089 in Kerala. Presently, 58,313 patients are undergoing COVID treatment in the state. The COVID recovery rate in the state had dropped to 7.11%. Meanwhile, the centre has directed to tighten the preventive measures in those districts where there is spike in COVID cases. It has been directed to increase the proportion of RT-PCR tests. Even those who are negative during a rapid antigen test are directed to undergo RT-PCR tests subsequently. Mayusha for AR News from Thiruvananthapuram.
Madhya Pradesh has been witnessing a rise in the COVID-19 caseload over the past few days. The state yesterday reported 299 fresh cases of coronavirus. More from our Bhopal correspondent.
COVID positivity rate in the state has increased to 2.0%, with 4 patients succumbing to the infection. The death toll increased to 3,854. Bhopal has 500 active cases, while Indore has 612. A total of 238 patients were discharged from hospitals yesterday, taking the state's overall recovery count to more than 253,000. No fresh COVID-19 case was reported from 18 out of the 52 districts. 5 districts, Niwadi, Mandala, Bhind, Chhatarpur and Morena, do not have any active COVID case. Meanwhile, the authorities at the health department have enhanced the surveillance and monitoring on COVID cases. Pooja P. Vardhan, AIR News, Bhopal.
The News Services Division of All India Radio, in its bilingual live phone-in program tonight, will bring you a special discussion on COVID-19. Dr. Mona Desai, chairperson at Women's Doctors Wing of Indian Medical Association in Ahmedabad, will participate in the discussion. This can be heard on the FM Gold channel and additional frequencies from 9:30 p.m. onwards. Listeners can ask questions to the expert on toll-free telephone number 1800-115767. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar arrived in Mauritius on the second and last leg of his two-nation tour. He was received by Finance Minister Alan Ganu in Port Louis after his arrival. The External Affairs Minister conveyed his thanks to Mr. Ganu for the warm welcome. Dr. Jaishankar said he is looking forward to a fruitful visit.
With the Financial Action Task Force FATF commencing its 3-day plenary meeting today, there is no light at the end of the tunnel for Pakistan. Hanging in the grey list of the global anti-terror watchdog, Pakistan has been trying to garner support from the member nations to escape the list. According to various reports, some European countries have taken a stand against Pakistan, saying that Islamabad has not fully implemented all the points of a plan of action set by it to come out of the grey list. Therefore, Pakistan may find it difficult to get out of the grey list before June this year. In its last plenary held in October last year, the FATF had kept Pakistan on the grey list, citing its failure to fulfill 6 out of 27 obligations of the global money laundering and terror financing watchdog. The obligations include failure to take action against 2 of India's most wanted terrorists, Jaish-e-Mohammed and Chief Maulana Masood Azhar and Jamaat-ul Dawa head Hafiz Saeed. This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts. Assam's artisans are all set to take part in the first ever National Toy Fair from the 27th of February to the 2nd of March through a virtual medium. Artists from Dhubri, Nalbari and Guwahati, among others, have prepared their special products for the fair. The group of artists from Assam would mostly exhibit infant and traditional toys, musical instruments, special toys for specially challenged children. North Guwahati's Pallavi Creation would display toys in back-to-school category, while Nalbari's PD Enterprise would highlight sustainable toys. Our correspondent reports that toys made in Assam were able to catch the attention of the tourists visiting the state. Toys and other products made of bamboo and terracotta depicting places and icons of Assam are very popular among all people.
Global toy industry 7 lakh crore rupees se bhi adhik ki hai. Team up for toys.
The Government of India is organizing India's first ever, the India Toy Fair. Indian local toy manufacturers march forward for Atmanirbhar Bharat. It's time to get vocal for your remarkable locals. From 27 February to 2nd March, must come forward to get registered online at www.theindiatoyfair.in.
Now let us take a look at the weather update for the day. National capital Delhi will have a mainly clear sky. The minimum temperature was around 11 degrees Celsius, while maximum will be 30 degrees. Mumbai will have a mainly clear sky with temperature varying between 22 and 37 degrees. Chennai will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain. The temperature will fluctuate between 23 and 30 degrees Celsius. Kolkata will have mainly clear sky during the day. Minimum temperature was 17. Maximum may go up to 30. Jammu will have a partly cloudy sky becoming generally cloudy towards afternoon or evening or night. In Srinagar, generally cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. Leh will see generally cloudy sky. Minimum temperature was -3 degrees. Maximum will be around 10. Gilgit will also have generally cloudy sky with light rain. Generally cloudy sky with moderate rain is forecast for Muzaffarabad. And now before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi emphasizes on the instrumental role of the private sector to make the country self-reliant in the defence sector. Prime Minister asserts Centre and Assam government working together to develop state infrastructure. Several railway projects to be inaugurated by the Prime Minister in Hooghly district of West Bengal this afternoon. Puducherry Chief Minister V. Narayanasamy tenders resignation to Lieutenant Governor after losing majority in Assembly. Uttar Pradesh government presents biggest ever budget for 2021-22 of over 5,50,000 crore rupees. Banihal Baramulla train service in Jammu and Kashmir resumes after 11 months. An IED successfully defused by security forces near Naugam railway station in Srinagar in Jammu and Kashmir. Political, social and religious gatherings prohibited in Maharashtra from today amid rise in COVID-19 cases. And 3-day plenary meeting of Financial Action Task Force commencing today to decide the fate of Pakistan. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.com and News on AIR app. And with that, we end the Midday News.